ShineOn stands tall in the land. Printful shakes can't withstand. Printify steps back in fright. ShineOn shines day and night. ShineOn's print game is strong. T-shirts, skirts, it won't be long. Mugs and more, they craft so bold. Their designs break the mold. ShineOn reigns supreme in the world of printed dreams. Printful, printify, taking the fall. ShineOn conquers all. Quality unmatched in the scene. Their prints always come out clean. Trust in ShineOn, feel the rush. Others turn to dust. Fast shipping, no delays. ShineOn blazes other ways. Reliability in every order. ShineOn sets the border. Customization's what they do. Unique designs just for you. Printful wishes could compete. ShineOn can't be beat.
We find our way. Project teaching us what to say. When ShineOn's magic, we hit the stores. Success is closer evermore. And on demand in every hand. Merchants thriving across the land. Project guides us through the night. In this game, we're winning the fight. Project, learn and grow. Bright ideas start to show. ShineOn sparkles, we succeed. In this world we plant the seed. Pixels dancing in the breeze.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Coffee with ShineOn. I'm very excited for the episode we have going on here today. You're going to meet a very interesting merchant she's an OG in the print on demand space. All right, everyone, so let's get into it. Let's get started. So, as always, we're going to start off by showing off some of our swag winners for the week. And first of all, we have someone, I'm not going to try and butcher their name because I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But essentially, they say, "Good evening, everyone. After a long time, I created my first design." So huge props to you. That's a very important first step. Just get out there, try to publish your first product. Don't get too caught up in your own mind. So props to you. Be on the lookout for your swag. And then we have Robert over here, and he says, "Hello there. I'm Robert, and I'm starting my gift company. I'm a retired teacher, father of three, married to the love of my life, and I'm ready to enjoy life while earning money at some point, hopefully." So I love that for you, Robert. That's kind of what I like about print on demand. You get people from all over, you know, all different types of backgrounds. So this is so cool to see. I really hope you succeed in this side hustle with us. All right. So if you want to get free swag, just remember simply participate in our community, whether it might be our Facebook group, just get in there, maybe post a testimonial, maybe post just a screenshot of a sale you got. Maybe you just publish your first product and you're excited to share that with the rest of us. Go ahead and do it. Also in our community, community.pewduniversity.com. That's also where some of these merchants are posting their wins and stuff like that. So if you want to qualify for some free swag, just make sure to do that. So let's get into our latest news here at ShineOn. So our mobile app is now available, like I just mentioned, from community.pewduniversity.com. If you haven't downloaded yet, just go ahead and do it. It's super cool. I think it's my favorite part of the app is that you get to see all of our courses on the go. So whether you are a free user or a paid user, we have some courses for you. So it's very convenient. Maybe you're driving along, you're outside of your regular working environment, and you just take your phone with you, and you can start learning some print on demand on the go. So it's super cool. If you haven't downloaded it, just go for it. I promise it's worth it. And it's also downloading the app is 100% free, by the way. So go ahead and do that. Also, our color accent mugs are now in the catalog. So if you haven't seen those, go ahead and give them a shot. Mugs are kind of one of the original print on demand products, even from back on the day. And still to this day, I see lots of mug only businesses. So definitely check those out if you have some designs in mind already. Make sure to share them with us also so we can take a look. Very cool new product, color accent mugs. Go ahead and publish a few of these if you can. And if you've missed something, remember to check out our Facebook groups and our PODU community as well. All right, everyone. So let's start with our digital marketers toast. I hope everyone has some coffee on their hands. I see some familiar faces here in the comments. As always, I have my Costa Rican coffee with me from the Poas volcano. Okay, so I just took a sip of the coffee before I made the toast. All right, so let's get into it. All right, everyone, raise up your glasses, mugs, bottles, or flasks, and join me now for the digital marketer's toast. Here's to more conversions, more cash, cheaper CPMs, and lower CACs. To higher CPRs, much higher CVRs, to enabled ad accounts and big bank accounts, to upsells, downsells, and cross sells, to winning products and repeat sales, to the thing that everybody knows, the riches are in the niches, but also in your email flows. Ready? Drink. So I kind of took a sip there before the first toast, but I hope you guys will forgive me. All right. Perfect. Let's go. So right now I'm gonna bring up to the stage our very special guest for today. Her name is Stephanie. Let's just bring her in right about now. Hey Stephanie, how's it going?
Hey, nervous.
Nerves. All good. It's just gonna be a lighthearted conversation. I'm actually very excited for some merchants already know Stephanie because she's been in the game for a while and she actually participates in our PODU community. So some of you might already know who she is. Let us know in the comment if this is a new face for you or if you've already seen Stephanie hanging around. All right, so I'm very excited to have you on board, Stephanie. I think your story truly is awesome. Like I said before, you are one of the OGs in the e-commerce space, and that is a huge compliment. And so yeah, to kick this off, I just wanted to start off by just asking you to maybe introduce yourself. Who is Stephanie? Where are you from? And how does print on demand just fit in your life nowadays?
Uh, Print and demand is daily in my life now. Can't live without it. I eat, drink, and sleep. POD. I think most of you
Awesome.
know that. Yeah, and I'm from North Carolina, so down south.
Perfect. All right. So North Carolina, and as you heard, she lives and breathes print on demand. So hopefully you can learn one thing or two about Stephanie. All right. So you truly, Stephanie, I mean it. You have one of the coolest stories I've heard in a while regarding print on demand, and this is a story that stems back to the 90s. All right. So she kind of was one of the founding fathers of e-commerce. You want to see it like that? Uh, so
I've
yeah,
been through
Stephanie, I
all the
wanted just
seasons.
yeah, I just wanted to start this off by going back to the 90s. I mean, I wanna hear about your first experience with e-commerce. Just tell us a bit about how that all got started.
Yeah, so picture it. The year was 1998, way back when. Uh, there was this little site that came out. This guy had a unique idea to do an auction site. You may have heard it called eBay. At the time,
Small side.
no, it was a very small site at the beginning. You could actually like page through page 1, 2, 3. So at the time when it first started, it was an incredible opportunity. So I just played around with it, sold some old clothes. I made like $1,200 a month just selling crap in my house. So it was pretty addictive. uh,
Man,
but
that's amazing. I mean, so essentially what you used to do was I remember you shared a bit of the story with me, but you had a partner in this venture, right?
yes, so like when I ran out of my stuff to sell, I had a friend that loved a yard sale. She was like addicted to yard selling. So she kind of sourced things for me, so to speak. And I gave her a small percentage of my, of, what we made, or I made more specifically, I guess. Uh, but so we went through that phase in life, you know, made some good bucks on that. Then the market kind of changed where the major retailers were coming into eBay, like Sears. That didn't work out for Sears, I guess. But and then, like Best Buy and all that came in, and it wasn't so much an auction site anymore. You needed retail goods to compete. So that is when I took a nosedive, and I put about $1,500 down on a pallet of new clothing. Um, I had
Okay.
no idea what I was getting myself into with that. A truck showed up at my house with a whole U-Haul and like dumped 50 boxes on the sidewalk. Uh, now I had like over $50,000 worth of inventory in my house to unload, but I only paid $1,500 for it. So uh, again, that worked out really good for me. Also at this time, that's when this little company called PayPal came out, because
All
before
right.
they came out, we actually had to, get checks in the PO box, take them out, drive them to a bank back in that day, and deposit them. So it was a time consuming process. Of course, checks bounce too. So with the advent of PayPal, I learned about affiliate marketing, which was an exciting new world. Because
Yeah, is it
at the time, it was a
is it okay if I
yeah,
just step back for a bit because the story you shared, I think is so cool about just yard selling. So essentially, I mean, there's influencers that nowadays they still preach about yard sales. I mean, you think about Gary Vee, for example, he preaches, just yard sales and garage sales and stuff like that every day. He still recommends it sometimes as a side hustle. So I think it's so cool that you got into that before it was cool, literally.
well, what's
So
not as common now, so it's coming back, I guess.
yeah, I think it's maybe it has a comeback. But I mean, what were you doing with all of that inventory? I mean, you said were you storing it like in just in your house, like in a room? It was just sitting there.
Yeah, I had a spare bedroom upstairs. I hauled it all up there, and oh, but it was messy because you had to take pictures, and back in the day we still had SD cards. We had to transfer the pictures and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it
Also,
was
but let
very
me ask you
very
something.
messy.
So,
Yes,
you did manage to sell through all of that inventory.
most of it, like some of the sizes, like small, don't sell, so you're gonna have that excess and have to donate it. So yeah, I made a pretty big bang with that.
All right, so it was a good decision at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely a good decision.
So, I mean, this is kind of your first experience with e-commerce. Um, would you think there's anything you learned like from this whole yard selling experience that you're now applying, nowadays to your business, like your print on demand business?
My business partnership probably should have been better. I was probably overly generous with that since I was doing the work. And yeah, the biggest lesson was, keeping inventory is messy and you're not necessarily going to sell inventory, which is the beauty of pod.
All right, so I think that's actually very interesting what you're mentioning. So, your experience with yard selling or using this method we're talking about kind of took you to the realization that inventory sucks, essentially.
Yeah, I don't want a whole lot of crap around the house and
Yeah.
mannequins. It's
So
hard to invite
essentially, you
people
were
over.
successful with it. You
Yes, I
were
was
successful with it,
successful.
but you did learn that. I mean, having inventory is really a hassle, and that is the beauty of print on demand. It's really, I think we've come to be accustomed to that, but it really is kind of a godsend to be able to sell stuff and not hold any inventory. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. I mean, you're forgetting about the most difficult part of e-commerce is in my opinion, you know, logistics and fulfillment. And you're now with print on demand, you're able to start a business without any of those concerns. So that's pretty crazy. And I think it's very cool that that was your kind of your first experience with e-commerce, and that just led you to the realization that you might need to look for something else. All right. So I think that's a very fun story. So now I think we can get into how it all, just you just stop seeing the, I guess, the opportunity there, and you kind of shift it over to affiliate marketing, right?
Yeah. I had some kids, so I took a little time off there. And then we moved into the affiliate phase, which was very popular in the early, I don't know, 2005 to 2010 range. Blogs were very popular. So monetizing off blogs became kind of a side gig. Like I signed up for Google AdSense, and I would write blog related posts related to, what's going to get me the most money off of AdSense as far as return. So I would do things like credit card websites, like they're informational, but your end goal is, to make money off the clicks.
Yeah, for sure. Could you go into just like I think some of our guests probably have never heard of this business model. Could you just kind of get into how it all worked back in the day?
Yeah, so like AdSense or those little ads you'll see pop up on the sides of websites sometimes. They'll have like hyperlinks, and you click out. If that goes to a person's page, they'll pay a percentage, or if you make a sale on those things, then there'll be a percentage they pay you through like ClickBank or an affiliate site like that.
Yeah, it's has changed so much, right? Because nowadays, I mean, with the rise of AI and everything,
Yeah, see, that's what
I'm
I
seeing
like.
that.
We had to use our brains back then. We had to learn
Yeah,
SEO. I mean, to rank, we had to be on page, on the first page, 1 to 10, and you had to do that. That it wasn't a way that it was black hat SEO. So that was my first rodeo with that.
it's crazy to think that. I'm in the same boat. I've been in this industry for a while, and I didn't have access to AI for a good chunk of it. But there was no helping you. I mean, when you're trying to do SEO, there were no easy resources you could get to make your journey easier. So you just you just had to get out there and learn by example and by experience. And that's, yeah, I think that whole affiliate world has changed a lot because I mean, I think by the day I even see a much less number of websites that are just splattered with ads. So so I think that business model might not be as effective as it was when you took it on. But I think I mean, it's just a great testament. You have told me like two experiences so far with e-commerce, and I'm seeing a trend here that you kind of know how to identify trends and you know when to pivot. So I think that's so valuable and that's so important in, with this business model in general, which is print on demand. And Stephanie, I also wanted to ask you, I noticed that you also mentioned that you, after this whole, affiliate marketing journey, you started selling pre-made uh, drop shipping websites. Could you kind of walk us through how that whole process worked out?
That was a fun phase. That was a pretty profitable phase. So the same concept. I was promoting AdSense. Uh, I did have a site that sold dropship items from a whole bunch of crappy drop shippers. God knows where they were coming from or if they were reliable, but didn't really care because that wasn't the goal of the site. The goal of the site really was, to get AdSense revenue, and mainly that was the era where people like to buy pre-made websites with preloaded products on. So basically, that's what I was pushing. Hey, you can get a lower price if you go sign up for our website. Again, that was pretty profitable. Yeah.
That's very cool. But I mean, did you actually end up selling like the entire website to customers and stuff like that? I mean, were you able to just get rid of the websites, sell it, and start over?
My personal website or the affiliate? Like it was an
No,
affiliate.
okay, yeah, like the dropshipping websites, the
Yeah,
pre-made dropshipping websites.
yeah, those. The ones that would never get indexed by Google, which I knew, but feels a little
All right,
shady
so
now.
yeah. So that, I think it's safe to say that that was kind of your first touch point with dropshipping, right? That's the first time you kind of stumbled into the whole business model.
Yeah, that was kind of on the edge of when dropshipping came into play.
All right, but the main focus was still, like you said, the AdSense revenue, right?
Yeah.
So when did it start becoming, I mean, because when did the focus stop being AdSense revenue? And when did you actually start getting into like dropshipping by itself as a business model?
Probably around 2017 or 2018. I think that was kind of the height of different drop shippers coming into play.
Yeah, that was kind of like the golden era. I'd like to think of dropshipping. Like everyone was trying it. I remember when you advertised on Facebook, CPMs were like non-existent. I mean, you could sell most of the. I mean, it was so easy to sell online back in the day. I think I don't know if you've shared the same experience, at least with dropshipping,
Yeah.
but it was so much easier back then. So So essentially, you had at this point you had your own dropshipping store, right?
Yeah.
And what sorts of products did you have on here? For example,
ShineOn was one I started with, but I did not make good choices after that. I did a lot of the Oberlo imports from AliExpress, different
I
T-shirts.
remember that app.
You didn't have a whole lot of reliability with that because you don't really know who is who on Alibaba or AliExpress. And of course, the shipping times, at best are 10 days, usually up to 3 weeks. I put a few ShineOn products up, kind of forgot about it, do what a lot of people do. I just, posted a few things on a Facebook page and, oh, they're going to sell, right? Which is, not how you really sell things. Moved on to the next thing. I got involved with another drop shipping company that I did okay-ish with, not great, but and then 2020 came, and I think we both know what 2020 was like.
Yeah, so
They shut down the
just
port in 2020.
yeah, 2020 was a mess. We just walk back for a second here. So for our viewers, maybe we have some newbies over here. So this whole drop shipping era, essentially, you had access to these apps within Shopify that were kind of connected with AliExpress.com and sites like that. So you essentially, by the click of a button, and these sites still exist, they're a bit different, but with just clicking a button, you could import hundreds of products from AliExpress to your own stores. Okay, but remember, this is very different than print on demand. I mean, you're not using your designs and trusted suppliers. Every single product you imported to your store was from a different seller for the most part. And you didn't really know who this seller was, if they were trustworthy or anything like that. And every single one of these products was fulfilled from China. Okay, so that was kind of the hype that was going on back in the day. So let us know in the comments if you kind of participated in this whole drop shipping from China era. Surprisingly, I still see people that are using this business model to this day. It's becoming harder by the hour and by the day, but there's still some people that use it. But I just wanted to kind of get into how it works. So you just import products from AliExpress to your store, you put up some ad, and if someone bought it, you just went ahead and kind of purchased it from AliExpress, and they went ahead and shipped it to your customers. All right, but this came with a bunch of problems. Like Stephanie mentioned, this is Chinese fulfillment. So, I mean, if you were lucky, your products took, 10 to 15 days to arrive to the US. All right. So, of course, this resulted in a lot of problems and friction with your buyers, right? Because first of all, this was kind of the initial phase of drop shipping. So customers didn't really understand what was going on when they logged into their account to see where the product they purchased was coming from, and they see that the product was coming from China and it has a Chinese tracking number and all of that stuff. It caused a lot of friction because customers were not really aware of how the whole system worked. And while it had a lot of flaws, it was profitable back in the day. I mean, I don't know if some of you are aware, but it's getting harder by the day to use Chinese suppliers with all of this stuff happening in the US about tariffs and new legislation and stuff like that. It's pretty much an unviable business model for the most part, for most industries at this point. And that is why it's so cool that all these print-on-demand companies have, rose up like ShineOn, because it's just a whole. The business model is similar, but you have U.S. suppliers with ShineOn. I mean, you have trusted suppliers here with ShineOn. We ship from the U.S. I mean, you design your own products, so they are your own products. So it is just a whole different business model. And I remember, Stephanie, I kind of stumbled, with similar problems. I as soon as I started selling dropship products and I started seeing the friction with my customers, I immediately started looking for alternatives. I remember I was like, I can't do this anymore. If I scale, I'm gonna be incredibly stressed 24/7 because I scale and my Chinese supplier disappears, then I am in big trouble. Okay, so that kind of experience overall is what eventually I think leads people to find print on demand. All right. Um, yeah, let me know, Stephanie, if you think if you have a similar experience. Did
Yeah.
did dropshipping did this whole dropshipping debacle kind of lead you into print on demand after 2020?
I should have gone right straight back to ShineOn at that moment. I kind of missed a golden opportunity there because that was the rise of ShineOn. Uh,
Yeah.
I kind of slept on that, or I might be a seven-figure seller now. you know, hindsight is 2020. What happened was I lost a lot of money with that, obviously, because I think at one point it was taking 3 months to get something shipped, and I mean, people aren't going to put up with that. Like, it was coming from China at that period in time. There's like, the factories were shut down, so it was a pretty big mess. So I kind of took a little breathing room for a while after that, because that was probably the first time I
Yeah.
did lose money.
Yeah. No, I've been on that boat, Stephanie, and yeah, just to provide some context, like Stephanie says, when the pandemic came along, I mean, everything went to hell, basically. And a bunch of sellers were using Chinese suppliers, like I said. And like Stephanie mentioned, overnight we were starting to see, 3-month waiting times for customers to get their orders and stuff like that. So everyone had to turn off their ads, everyone had to remove their listings. It was a mess. So Stephanie, let me ask you, how did you deal with all that? I mean, how did you manage to come out of that situation kind of unscathed?
I won't say I came out unscathed. Let's say I did take a little break and a little breather until I got back to my dream partner.
And how did you deal with customers? I mean, throughout that whole debacle?
We didn't have Chat GPT then, so the old school way. Tried to explain, they're not working. It's not my fault that the ports got shut down and they're sitting in the middle of the ocean somewhere. It was transparent. I was transparent. They were coming from China. They knew that before they ordered. But 3 weeks versus 3 months, people aren't going to put up with that. You have to refund them. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's true. I also had to refund a bunch of customers back in the day. It was kind of daunting because if you have your ads turned on and you have a bunch of products like in your production line that are supposed to be shipped, I mean, there comes a time when it can affect the cash flow of your business, right? Because you're spending money on ads, you already paid for all these products, and then you have a bunch of customers reaching out and say, "Hey, what's going on here?" So it really was a tough situation. So I'm on the same boat with you on that, Stephanie. I also suffered some losses back in the pandemic. But I think it happened to a lot of us that we kind of saw that as the kind of the death of dropshipping, right? Like, at least with Chinese suppliers. And I was in the same boat. I mean, I was looking for a tree to hang out on. Uh, so walk me through how this transition happened. I mean, Chinese dropshipping died. You kind of took a breather, right? You were kind of sick of the whole thing. How did you kind of get up from there and survive?
I will say fate whispered in my ear to bring me back to ShineOn. I was just on YouTube one day or Facebook, and I saw an affiliate ad or a ad for a course from Reggie. And in that ad, they were holding up their stack of message cards. And I'm like, hey, I know what those are. Because I kind of tapped out right before message cards became the thing. And, tisk on me for doing that, but so yeah, that brought me back. And also, I was in Robert's class.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Robert, Joe.
so there was also a mention of ShineOn again in his class. So between the two, I'm like, I'm coming back. Like season of life for me. Let's just start all over. And I took a very different approach to it this time.
All right. So so essentially you saw a couple of ads of people promoting Shine on products or print on demand in general, and that kind of reeled you back in. All right. So how did this new beginning look for you? I mean, did you start with Shopify? Did you actually jump on platforms like Etsy and stuff like that? What was your channel of choice for this kind of comeback?
I started with Shopify and ads. At that time, we had the original ShineOn challenge, which was a great course. It was very intensive. They had homework every day that we had to faithfully post in there to Zaffy and get feedback. So that was a great course. I did start too soon with ads. I think I needed to take more time to really learn and know about them. I'd known some about it before, but there's a big difference between what happened in 2020 and 2023 with ads. So that was my first starting place. Then they also offered the pro account where we could access all the old coaching calls. So I got all the good stuff with Michael. Like there was 3 months of coaching calls on there from some old sellers. You could see who struggled and how they persevered, and like sometimes they break even and want to give up, but then in the end, that's a person that won later on. So that was very helpful. Who doesn't like listening to Michael, as motivating as he is? There also was that had the ShineOn mastermind that was in Florida, which was packed full of things with Amazon, and had Anna, and just everybody was in that. So that was a wealth of information that I got there. So I basically lived, eat, and slept it, and I just said I'm going to be $100,000 seller at some point, and try to manifest it. So that was how I started.
So you did, you manifested it.
Hopefully, yeah. Yeah, I did not want to be an Etsy seller. I think we all know that is my main source of income, but that was something that came later on. I did try Amazon. It was okay-ish. It's a lot of work. So
That's very interesting. So you went ahead, you got educated, you got into a few of our courses, you tried Shopify. You said you tried some ads, but maybe it was too a bit in over your head with the ad spend.
Yeah, I rushed into that way too quick. I mean, eventually I learned better how to do it. But in the beginning, I was just like blowing $50 each ad set, and like, you get some lucky winners. You get some lucky winners that are false positives, and you get excited and you spend way too much on something that's never going to work. So
that's very true. So did you manage to kind of make that work with Shopify, or did you just say like, you know what, I'm going to try different channels?
Different channels, and I did make it work to some degree with ads. It's maybe 1/3 of the revenue comes from ads.
Okay, that's very interesting to hear. So you eventually did manage to turn that into something that is sustainable. And I agree with you. I mean, when you're first starting out, getting into ads can be daunting, and it's easy to burn through money as well. So if you just launch a bunch of ad sets at $50 a day, you can quickly burn through all of your budget, right, for ads. So all right, so you got into Shopify, tried some ads, got educated, and then you started trying out different channels. You say Amazon, I agree with you, said it was a ton of work. It is not easy to get started on Amazon. But then you stumbled upon another very small website, like you say, that is Etsy.com,
Yeah.
right?
I did not want to be on Etsy, but I know that there's a proven track record with ShineOn sellers on Etsy. I mean, it's very sustainable over there. So
Why
it
did
was,
you didn't want to be on Etsy?
I don't know, it was just me. I didn't want to be an Etsy seller. That's before I knew the problems it could bring to. I just wanted
So
to be like
you
an
had
app.
beef with Etsy.
Yeah. I also tried TikTok shops. Like I was in the beta for that, but I got kicked out of TikTok shops beta because I didn't sell anything within 30 days. So I probably could try to go back to that. Again, I was spreading myself too thin. You know, you should pick one, two at max until you find one that catches on. So I was just all over the place. So that
Yeah.
was a mistake.
Yeah, that's a great observation, Stephanie. Sometimes when you try to tackle all channels at once, it's very tough. I mean, it is recommended to pick one and stick with it. Um, so eventually you decided to, just pick Etsy, even though you didn't like it, and,
It picked
go all
me,
in on
is what I
Etsy.
said. It picked me.
It picked you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I probably went from, I think after my first 100 sales, I made 100 sales in a week between ads and Etsy. So that is when I kind of committed to, that's going to be my main focus is Etsy because you don't have to spend a whole lot on there. Obviously, it's low risk. It's not like gambling so much.
It is. There are so many upsides to platform selling. So when you say on Etsy and on ads, are you referring to the Shopify store or ads on Etsy?
The first May, I did well on, I mean, not like super well, but decently on ads and also product on Etsy. They were the same product because we could sell jewelry back then, which of
Yeah.
course we can't do now. So that was a factor.
Yeah. So before we get into the whole jewelry explosion, how did your product testing rhythm look like back then when everything was, I mean, when selling jewelry on Etsy was acceptable? I mean, were you posting maybe one product a day, two, three, one a week? How was your rhythm? How did your rhythm look back in the day?
Definitely posting daily. I'm not sure how many I posted a day. It was hard to make cards back then because, I don't know, we didn't have the resources again like we have now. We can like mass duplicate 100 cards in like 5 minutes now.
Yeah,
So it's way different, If you had
it
PSD
was
files back
tough.
then, I mean, just so much. Like it's so much easier now. So yeah, I don't know, maybe like 5 a day.
All right. And yeah, like Stephanie mentions, even a year or two ago, it was so much harder to create message cards because Stephanie is referring to our message card products. So you pretty much had to have skills with design software. There was no workaround. I mean, you either were good with Canva or with Photoshop, or you were screwed. And it really wasn't easy kind of to get in the rhythm of creating good message cards that had good placement, fonts that make sense, good messaging. So I mean, I'm kind of jealous for people that are just starting out right now and they have access to all of these tools.
Like you have
um
all those templates. All you got to do is switch them up. It's so easy now.
yeah, that's
Back
crazy.
then,
And
yeah, we used to have to pay
before all this,
$15 for design and for nothing.
yeah,
And we get all this free.
that's true. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted help, you needed to pay someone a bunch of money to help you create a simple message card design, right?
Yep. And they
And
weren't that good sometimes.
yeah,
Most of
that's
the
very
time.
true. All right, so in this streak kind of necklace selling in Etsy, did you actually use Etsy ads back then, or you didn't dabble with them at all?
I did use Etsy ads. Yeah.
And did you have success with those?
Yeah, I will say that helped elevate the store for sure. I've kind of refined the process of ads over the years. I definitely overspent in the beginning, probably. Maybe it was closer to 25-30% in the beginning. But I still think that helps boost a new store if you have, your keywords right and things on point. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing in the beginning. It was daunting filling out all the information and all that kind of stuff. But it's like any platform, you learn the ropes, you learn the way to optimize your titles and descriptions and stuff like that. So.
Definitely. All right, so you were doing great, but then we had this whole policy change on Etsy that was horrible. So they pretty much were prohibiting message cards for a while, and our own integration got taken down, and that whole thing. How did you go through this? How did you survive the kind of that integration apocalypse?
It was frustrating because in the beginning we didn't know why some people got their stuff taken down and why others still had it up. Eventually we figured out it was just the platform. In my case, I had mine connected to SED, so they did not get knocked off.
Okay.
So I had to go in there and turn off 400 listings, which just about made me cry, which it was pretty much all my store because we pretty much only had jewelry at that time. Yeah, it was pretty disheartening to have to start from the beginning again. So
It is, yeah. I mean, because some context for our viewers, you probably had a bunch of SEO work with your listings that SEO takes time. So when you have a store with a bunch of listings and you are making sales, it is quite devastating to just have to turn off a bunch of listings because you have some of these listings have months and months of optimization. They have been ranking up. So when you search for them, they're more visible. So you're kind of building this entire, ecosystem and trying to get more traffic. And if you just go in and turn off all of your listings, it's not as easy as turning an ad on and off. You can just republish the listings and expect to have the same results. Usually, if you need to republish the listing, you're going to lose all of your SEO ranking. So it really sucks. All right, so you got saved because you were using SED Commerce. That's incredible to hear. So you had to get rid of all of your message cards and pivot.
Yep. Almost like starting back at zero.
Essentially, yeah, that's crazy. So
I did not get rid of the message cards except on Etsy, but I still sold them somewhere
exactly.
else. But still, when Etsy was your main breadwinner, that really sucked.
It really sucks. So did you end up transitioning to other ShineOn products? You don't have to mention which of them you don't want to, but did you end up using other ShineOn products?
Yeah, so like shortly after that, I think is when we came out with acrylics. That was like a fun new product. Hasn't been really explored much before, so it was like a blank canvas. We could kind of try anything with it. I would say still to this day, acrylics is the #1 winner. So that saved us and all the partnerships. Now we have so many more products. There's plenty of stuff you can sell on Etsy that's coming out. It's just had to shift, take your ideas, put them on different products. Messages can still be the same. They're there. With AI, heck, we can just grab them. We could have just plopped them all on plaques, if we had AI back then.
Exactly.
Had to do it the hard way 2 years ago. Now we can just scrape anything we want.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. So it is tough that you had to lose all of your previous rankings, but how long would you say it took you to kind of revive that shop? Just get it having traffic, daily traffic again.
I don't remember traffic specifically. I know I did fine in Q4, so I think I made a decent comeback. I didn't give up. I pivoted. You always got to pivot, no matter what platform you're on, there's always going to be something that happens. There's always going to be an obstacle somewhere in the way. You just, go with it, change directions. It's a business.
That's such an important perspective to have, seriously. I mean, especially if you're in e-commerce or print on demand, you seriously need to learn how to pivot. And this is exactly what Stephanie did over here. I mean, most people would have kind of just left it at that when they realized they had to turn off all of their listings. But you kind of just carried along and found a way to make it work. And I think that's awesome. So you mentioned that Q4 you did great, right?
Mhm.
Is there anything you were noticing that was just different with selling on Etsy? Do you think it was harder, the same? I mean, did you have to just work harder to get the same amount of visibility you had before? Or how were you sensing like these platform changes in general from one year to the other?
I noticed a group of people that didn't want to follow that change. They lost out. The ones of us that pivoted were still there. uh, yeah.
Yeah, you pretty much you took the bags of all of those sellers that missed out and didn't want to give it another shot.
And that was a good fit because we did lose a lot of those high end sellers that we were competing with. You know, like there were some big ShineOn stores that were there.
I
So
remember.
us little people got a little more cut than we probably would have.
Yeah, that was kind of unfortunate, but I'm so glad to hear that you came out on top, right? And I did want to ask you, Stephanie, I mean, how do you balance like maintaining this business alive and also you just like your having a life in general? I mean, what tips would you provide for people that maybe have 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day to work on this? How can they actually make progress with their print on demand business? And also, just work have their daily routine and everything. I mean, maybe what tips would you give someone that's just starting out and maybe doesn't have as much time as they would want to get started with print on demand?
Don't focus on like minute details like is the color of my website good or is my logo good? You can change all of that later on. Just get going, start creating what you can. Uh, I like to prioritize the daunting tasks first, like customer service and manual orders and things you don't like to do so much as like designing. So I like to get those out of the way at the beginning of the day. And then if you only have like one day a week, you could like batch your designs. Like I have a friend that does it that way. Since she works all during the week, she creates on the weekends and then she'll batch them out over the week. So, I mean, everybody's timeline looks different. So, you can usually carve an hour or two out of a day, no matter what.
Yeah, that's very true. And I think that's great advice, Stephanie. Sometimes, I mean, some tasks of running a print on demand business can be boring, and we sometimes put them off, like you said, like customer service and stuff like that. So I think it's a great idea to kind of just start your day, just get out of the what you enjoy the least, and then you have the most amount of time to focus, on designing and stuff like that. And so I think that's a great piece of advice. And besides that, I've seen a bunch of changes going on into Etsy. I wanted to ask you, and I've seen people very confused about kind of how AI is shaping Etsy. Have you seen any real changes? I mean, in the platform in general regarding AI usage and stuff like that. Have you had to do any changes to your designs, to your listing process? How is that all turning out?
Last year, they publicly made it aware that AI designs were good, were okay, as long as you list in the description that it's created with AI. So that's great. That's an easy way to create. You don't have to have any like designer experience. We have the tools in PodU to make that super easy.
Yeah.
So then you can like put a crap load of designs out with AI, without any real talent, so to speak. Versus back in the day when, I spent so much time trying to line up the Canva cards. Is this, Just again, whole different era. Or so
Yeah,
I
so I mean, everyone listening should really pay attention to what you're saying. I mean, it's right now it's probably the easiest it's ever been to get started on this business. All right. So there's a lot of free education out there. If you just know how to use AI, and you're gonna be able to create a bunch of products. You're gonna be able to do product research so much easier than it ever was. So it really is a great opportunity for those that have not yet started with this business. Because I see some comments over here in the stream, and I see Robert here that asks he doesn't know what message cards are. So Robert, message cards are one of our most popular products at ShineOn. So it's essentially, like you're someone have an anniversary, so you kind of think of it like a greeting card, but it has a necklace in the middle. All right. So the whole process of selling message card involves a lot of brainstorming into how you can kind of resonate with the gift giver and the recipient in that case. So that is what message cards are. Yeah, I see some comments here. There's someone that is asking you, how long did it take to make the adjustment from Etsy to ShineOn, and did you see the results instantly? So I'm not sure if I understand that question.
ShineOn always came first. Etsy was just a
Etsy
platform
was
later on.
exactly. So Etsy was just a channel, for example. And Stephanie, what are your goals for this year with your business? What do you have in mind? What are you trying to set out for, achieve for the remainder of the year?
I've been trying to build up more message cards for where I do sell the message cards on, because I can make a huge chunk of cash even on platforms for that in Q4, even without ads. So that is one goal I've had, to do more of that, which is hard to go back to that from all the newer products that I'm used to doing. And obviously, I want to max out Q4 as much as possible on Etsy, because that's going to be my biggest chunk. And I would like to meet the 250 mark. That's where I'd like to be at.
That's an incredible goal, and I really hope you achieve it, Stephanie. And I wanted to close this up with one question to you. If you were starting all over again, I mean, you had nothing, none of the SEO real estate you have right now, for example, no listings, anything. How would your first 30 days look like? You're starting from scratch.
I would find a trusted group of people you can talk to, people you can trust, most importantly. Work together, learn from each other. For me, I know Launchpad was a huge part of my success. We all learned together in there. We all had different experiences we could share with each other. I also found my pod bestie in there. So
Perfect. So yeah, you need to, I mean, you make a great point. You really need to get surrounded by people who you trust, and people that can kind of show you the ropes. I think that's very important, so you kind of don't get lost in the weeds out there. Perfect, Stephanie. I think this was great. I really enjoyed your story. Like I said, I think it's one of the coolest print on demand stories out there. I think you're an OG in the space, and I'm so glad we could have this conversation. Thanks so much for coming on, Stephanie.
thank you.
All right, see you everyone. Thanks for hopping on.